What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Mike, and today's video is going to be on the early season risers and fallers. These are players that are currently trending upwards in your fantasy leagues or trending downwards and being dropped by a lot of teams. Before we get in this video, I just want to say thank you all so much for the support on this channel. We're closing in on 5,000 subscribers, just 250 subscribers away. So if you enjoyed the video, if you like our content, make sure you hit that subscribe button on your way out. Also, guys, make sure you join our Discord. It's filling up. There are a lot of very knowledgeable people in there. If you have any questions and you don't get that answered on the channel, refer to our Discord. Or if you want to just talk hockey, everything will be in there. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at @fantasy_puck. And if you want access to all of our premium tools, including our trade analyzer, which is a very big hit in season, head over to our Patreon. Without further ado, let's jump into the early season risers and fallers video. The first player that I want to talk about that's trending upwards this season, and you're probably all not surprised, is Artturi Lehkonen of the Colorado Avalanche. Now, as long as he continues to trend upwards, I'm going to continue to talk about Lehkonen. He has been dominating my leagues, and if you're in the Discord, you've definitely seen all the talk about him. He has the third most power play time on ice on the Avalanche at 13 minutes and 52 seconds of total time on ice. And of his 60 total minutes this season, 48 minutes have been spent with MacKinnon and Rantanen. Now, his 5-on-5 numbers are exceptional this season. 60% Corsi for, 58% scoring chances for, and a 53% high danger chances for. Now, what this means is when he's skating 5-on-5, he is doing well above league average against other teams. So he does have 4 points this season in 3 games. All 4 are on the power play, which is, not the most positive signs. But as long as he's producing on the power play, that means the 5-on-5 numbers will come. He's averaging 20 minutes average time on ice this season, a huge jump from last year. Honestly, when I projected him this season, I went back and looked, and I had him only at 17 minutes. So I'm going to have to go in and reproject and see how good Lehkonen ends up becoming. So there are new lines in Colorado right now. They got announced this morning, so I'm recording this on October 19th, Wednesday, and it looks like Lehkonen is still on the line with MacKinnon, and Nichushkin is now on that right wing. So Rantanen drops to the second line center. So it's Lehkonen, MacKinnon, and Nichushkin. Honestly, my thoughts right now are that MacKinnon is directing the Lions and is saying, I want to stay with Lehkonen. That's my assumption. Some of you Colorado fans may know better, but apparently Lehkonen has looked unbelievable. I haven't caught a game yet, but he's been very good for all my fantasy teams. And we're starting to see the Colorado effect. They were the highest scoring team last season, one of the best power play teams last season, and they're scoring a bunch of goals this season. Anyone that's in their top 6 is going to produce. You saw with Nichushkin last year, he went from a .38 point per game player to a .83 point per game player when moved into the top 6, and we're going to see the same outcome here from Lehkonen. News was announced that Landeskog is out for 12 weeks. I know a lot of people were saying, when Landeskog comes back, Lehkonen's going to have to move down the lineup. My thoughts are that Landeskog would end up being the 2C, and Lehkonen would stay on that first line, but it looks like Rantanen got moved down. Landeskog is out for 12 weeks, so all the Rantanen owners are very happy right now. Lehkonen was drafted 200 plus in most of your leagues. I took him near the end of my drafts, and he is trending upwards to be a top 100 player with a ceiling to be a top 75 player at the end of the season. Now, that may be a hot take. Let me know in the comments. Moving on to the next player that's been trending upwards quite a bit, and honestly, their entire team is Vincent Trocheck of the New York Rangers. So when I projected his minutes this year, I used a 3-year historical data, and we had him at 17 minutes and 59 seconds. Right now, he's sitting at 20 minutes and 19 seconds with the Rangers, a 2-minute jump from last year. I went into the projection system. I reprojected him based on his new minutes, and it spit out 75 games played, 72 points, 193 shots, and 176 hits. Now, this is season long, so we do have him missing about 7 games, but if he can stay healthy, these are top 50 player stats. 72 points may be on the high scale, but you have to remember, he's playing 70 out of his 81 minutes this season with Panarin 86% of the time, with one of the league's best playmakers and honestly one of the best point-producing players. In 4 games this season, Trocheck has 2 goals, 3 assists, 17 shots, and the concerning part is the 3 hits. But I do believe his hit volume will end up progressing to the mean, which is typically the case with players that struggle early in the season. The Rangers are looking really, really good. And honestly, I kept Barkov over Zibanejad, and I'm kind of regretting it right now. But this Rangers team is dominant. They're a wagon. They have a full lineup top to bottom and a extremely strong decor and goaltender. Their power play won last season, led all units in goals. This was one of the main reasons why I like Trocheck. If you watched one of the videos, my sleeper video on why I like Trocheck, that was one of the reasons why. So he's currently trending upwards to be a top 50 to 75 player. If our projections end up being what they are at the end of the season, obviously they're not going to be fully accurate, but if it's even close, he ends as a top 50 player in most leagues. He was drafted really late in drafts, 150 and beyond was his ADP, and he's going to be trending upwards to a top 75 or top 50 player. Oh, I can just feel the anger right now. I know. Montour's hurt. I get it. But he might be back. He was skating this morning. I didn't want to include him. I wanted to include Forsling, but we got to talk Brandon Montour. This guy is trending upwards. He has the likes to be a top 20 defenseman, even top 15 if he ends up panning out to what we're seeing early on. A 6-minute jump from his 2021 time on ice. 23 minutes and 20 seconds was his average time on ice in the first 2 games, with room to go up because now we know that Ekblad is on the long-term IR. He's missing at least 10 games. And if Montour does come back, again, I'm recording this on October 19th. He's scheduled to skate tomorrow morning. So if he does come back this week, he has the chance to be a very, very valuable defenseman early on. So I changed his projections. I upped his minutes to 23 minutes, and it gave me 80 games played, 46 points, 159 shots, 85 hits, and 86 blocks. Again, this is a median projection. It's hard to take into account that he's on power play 1 now, and also his new role as the first pairing defenseman. So he is confirmed the power play 1 defenseman in Florida. He has the 4th most power play time on ice amongst Florida Panthers, and that's with Ekblad in the lineup. So now with Ekblad out, I mean, you can only assume his minutes are going to go up. Big minutes, big opportunity. I love Montour right now. If he's available in your league, make sure you stash him. I added him in a few leagues and just put him on my IR plus, and when he comes back from injury, I'm going to be starting him as much as I can. Leafs fans, how are you feeling right now? I know Chris is not happy, but Murray's injury does open up another opportunity with Ilya Samsonov. Murray's out at least 4 weeks. You can see my little note there. Lol. Like, it's hilarious. We all knew this was going to happen. I was reading things about Dubas is playing chess. He knew this was going to happen, but there's no way. Anyways, I changed Samsonov's start share to 75%, assuming Murray doesn't come back this season. This gives Samsonov a 36 win projection. And my reasoning behind this, although he may not be the greatest goalie, you have to understand that goalie stats are derived from how good the team actually is in front of them. I honestly think that the team in front of them has more of an underlying outcome for goaltenders rather than how good the goaltender actually is. Toronto is the 4th most winning team since 2020. Samsonov is now the number 1 starter on a team that's going to be very good this season. It's hard for me to project how good Toronto actually will be in terms of wins and losses. So I went on moneypuck.com, a very good source for advanced stats, and they project them to be the 6th best team this season. If that stays true, Samsonov is easily a top 10 goalie in the league, and the backup honestly will not make that big of a difference. I looked at Shalgren's numbers, 47 pro starts and just 15 in the NHL. Samsonov is the number 1 starter on a very good team. He is trending upwards for me. Top 10 goalie. I would look to add him or trade for him in almost all my leagues. I'm sorry. I've been recommending Evan Bouchard the entire preseason, and now I have him here in my trending downwards video, but I'm going to eat my own words and be honest, I didn't really know his deployment was going to be this bad. 3rd pairing, power play 2. I thought he did have a chance this season to take over Barry's spot. Even if he didn't, top 4 minutes, if he was getting 20 plus minutes, he was close to it last season. I truly thought this was going to be the Evan Bouchard breakout year, but I think I'm completely wrong at this point. It's only 3 games in the season, so I don't think it's time to panic, but in 3 games, he has 0 points, a -4 rating, and just 10 shots. His minutes are down to 16 per night, a 4-minute decrease from last year, which honestly doesn't make much sense to me. And when I reprojected with his new minutes, he is now a 36-point defenseman with under 200 shots at 176. I was flat out wrong about him. I apologize, but I would say this. In 12-team leagues, you can probably move on from Bouchard and find someone else in your waiver wire, Montour, Forsling, Kalen Addison. But in your 14 plus team leagues, I think it's deep enough where you can continue to hold on to Bouchard and maybe see some long-term upside. I think the big thing here with Bouchard is if an Edmonton Oilers defenseman gets injured or starts to struggle, for example, Tyson Barrie or Darnell Nurse, Bouchard will take a step on that D-core. But for right now, he is trending downwards. He is outside the top 150 players and probably outside the top 40 defensemen. Evan Bouchard in 10 to 12 team leagues or less is definitely worth a drop, but in 14 plus team leagues, I would still continue to hold on. I'm sorry. Moving on now to the next player that is trending downwards right now. Another defenseman, the captain of the Minnesota Wild, Jared Spurgeon. Looking into Spurgeon's numbers, I couldn't believe how bad his peripherals are, and that's where he benefits you in fantasy. His minutes are down just 1 minute, but he's down to 20 minutes and 46 seconds. Not really something you want to see from a number one defenseman. Typically, you're looking for the 23 plus range in all of your D spots, unless you're rostering someone like Feijavari or Radko Gudas. But for someone like Spurgeon, who benefits from more minutes due to his shot volume, block volume, and hit volume, seeing these minutes are honestly a little bit worrisome. He's not in power play 1 anymore. We do know that it is Kalen Addison season. We were recommending him a little bit in the preseason as someone to draft in your deeper leagues. It looks like he's fully taken over that power play 1 spot, which Spurgeon, most of his points did come from playing on power play 1. And honestly, Minnesota has been getting dominated this season. Fiala was one of my favorite players, and they lost him. They lost Talbot. They lost Kakkonen. So Minnesota just hasn't been playing good early on in the season. If they continue to get dominated, it's going to be hard for Spurgeon to do much, given he's going to be in his own end most of the time. I would say with Spurgeon, he still does have some upside. He's had a very strong career. I think in 12 team leagues or less, he's worth a drop. But in 14 plus team leagues, because he does have the opportunity to bounce back and play a little bit more minutes, and honestly, the season is pretty early right now, so we're not entirely sure that Addison will hold that power play 1 spot. He is a hold in 14 plus team leagues, but currently Jared Spurgeon is trending down outside of the top 30 defensemen. If you listen to the Trocheck blurb, you know that I'm currently in pain right now because I kept Alexander Barkov over Mika Zibanejad, and honestly, I don't know if it'll work out long term, but I'm hoping it does. Barkov's minutes are up this season, +2 from 2021, over 22 minutes, which is absolutely crazy from a forward, but something we've seen Barkov's entire career. Just 3 games this season, 2 points, 8 shots, 1 block, and 0 hits. He's really not doing anything. Both points came on the power play. Florida does not look very good right now. I thought he was going to play with Matt Tkachuk early in the season. It looks like it's him, Verhaeghe, and Reinhart, while Tkachuk is on the second line with Sam Bennett. This could be a positive sign. Maybe he does find chemistry with Reinhart. He already has chemistry with Verhaeghe. Maybe I'm just being overly optimistic because I did keep him, and now I'm looking at the Zibanejad owner like, oh man, you got me. But there's no Huberdeau. That could play an effect. They were very, very strong on the power play last season. They didn't play together 5-on-5. And now there's no Aaron Ekblad, who is their number 1 defenseman. So, I mean, I did recommend Montour because Ekblad's out, but honestly, Ekblad being out does hurt this offensive core more and more, and the entire Florida Panthers team is trending downwards because of it. Barkov's 5-on-5 numbers, he has a 45% on-ice Corsi for percentage this season, meaning he's spending a lot of time in his own zone, and he's not really generating many chances when he's on the ice. He was at 60% last year, one of the highest in the entire league. If you remember back when I talked about Lehkonen, he's up at 60%. That is an elite rate. Now, personally, I think Barkov is a very good buy low target right now, although he is trending down. If you're looking for a number 1 center to trade for, his minutes are there. I still think the Panthers are a viable team, but he is trending downwards. He is outside of the top 30 players. I like Barkov quite a bit. I had him rank 11 going into this season, right after Huberdeau. I think you can buy low on him, but for now, he is a trending down player. That'll do it for our early season Risers and Fallers video. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, and if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next one.